Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
And his comments about you being knocked out in 2 rounds by Wilder?
As I said, Fury said a lot of things in my time of boxing. You know, I used to listen to a lot of it because I respected him. He was he'd been professional now 11 years, 12 years. So I thought the man's talking from a whole heap and a whole wealth of experience. But then I started realizing that's just waffle. You know, when he said that Conor McGregor was going to train him and all that stuff, and then Conor was like, I've never heard of Tyson Fury wanting to come to the gym and stuff like that. I thought, hang on a minute, that's waffle. He said that Charles Martin was going to beat me. He said a lot of things, you know, so you start to realize that this person's just talking for the sake of it. So him saying that, I don't know if he really means it or he's just saying that as Tyson Fury does.
Oh, well, someone's just done a knockout loss, haven't they?
I just heard about that.
So, you know, I think we're talking in the region of something with a 2 in front of it, maybe. Anywhere with a 2. So, negotiable.
Look, he's the man. Look, independent. We all got our views on who's the best heavyweight. I've said from day one, and I'll bang the drum because I'm with Tyson, that he's the best out there. It was nice to see the Ring magazine, you know, say that this guy, and this man here is the #1, and he is the #1 anyway.
Come on.
Everyone's going to ask you about Joshua now as well.
No one's going to ask me about Joshua because he could have been here tonight, but he didn't. I took this chance. I come over here, I took over America, and that's it. I'm going to enjoy the spoils of war and enjoy myself tonight, and that's it.
Take place now. Wilder was a bum, now you've beat him. He's a bum now. Wilder's no good. That's what they'll say.
You know, I beat Klitschko in Germany. I beat Deontay Wilder in Los Angeles. Come back and done it again in Las Vegas. Say no more. 2-time Ring Magazine champion of the world, only second man in history, WBC heavyweight champion, and lineal heavyweight champion of the world. #1, baby. That's it.
AJ, this is to you. He'll punish you, he'll school you, and he'll break your heart, and he'll make your life a misery. Tyson will ruin your life. He'll ruin Eddie Hearn's life. Eddie Hearn can't sleep at night. Do you know that, Umar?
I don't know that, John. Do you want to enlighten me?
Because I'll tell you something. The jealousy is bubbling out of him. You know, and I say this much. If anybody in the world wanted Tyson Fury to lose that night, it would have been the Hearn camp. And I know that. But let me tell you something, Eddie Hearn, and all your entourage and all your fighting this, that and the other. You can't beat my son. You've got nothing to beat him. The man hasn't been born yet or bred yet can beat Tyson Fury.
That boy, Tyson Fury, you're going to have to bring everything you got to beat him. And I just don't, and I'm going to be honest with you, I can't see Joshua beating him. But I sure would buy some tickets to see what'll happen. I'm that curious about it, but that Tyson Fury, man, whoo, Fury, I mean, how did he get the name?
So you can't, you know, you can't look too far forward. Yes, it's fascinating, it's fantastic that we're talking about it. These guys have agreed, you know, I would think just to split whatever goes, and it's happening. It really is, it's happening. So the biggest fight Britain's ever seen, ever. And we've seen some mega fights, I mean, we really have, but this will be something else. Tyson Fury's captured people's imaginations with his story, his downfall, his comeback. It's been amazing to watch from afar. And knowing Tyson, an absolute diamond of a fella, you know, a really good person. AJ, another diamond of a fella. You know, I've obviously got my opinion on who I think wins, but it doesn't in no way reflect on them as people and what their boxing styles is. It's just styles make fights, in my opinion. It's just one of them. It's a prediction. I've got many wrong, by the way, but I'll stand by the prediction. I've looked at Tyson Fury, and I've looked at it from a perspective of one day I may fight him. As we know, I sat down with him and had meetings with him when they pulled out the second fight. Me and him sat down in a travel inn and battered out a deal between us, shook hands and went to do it, until Longlegs over there decided to tell me not to. And I still believe to this day that the Tyson Fury that never had no warm-up fight for 3 years and was in the shape he was in could have been beaten but the Tyson Fury who had after one warm-up fight was only going to slap my ass and send me packing. So there's a couple of ways I could describe this fight happening, and would I be very confident in saying it, or would I put like my house on it? Of course I wouldn't know, because you know it's heavyweight boxing. But watching Tyson Fury and thinking the only way to beat him is you've got to have a fighter who doesn't care what's coming back. He's got to be relentless in his pressure, but he also has to have the boxing brain and the athletic prowess to get there and be able to do it. Now, Deontay Wilder had one of them attributes. He had the power to hurt him, but the things that he didn't have is the athletic prowess of, and don't that's maybe the wrong word, because he's a brilliant athlete, Deontay Wilder. He's basically a basketballer with a pair of boxing gloves on. So explosive, so long, so lean, so powerful, but he doesn't have the genuine boxing brain that's needed to set traps for someone like Tyson Fury. You're talking about Anthony Joshua here, is a better athlete probably than Deontay Wilder. He is not as big a puncher, but is a better, far better boxer on a technical level, from his footwork to everything right the way through. Anthony Joshua is just an outstandingly better fighter than Deontay Wilder. Don't forget, an Olympic gold medalist. So you have that amateur background and that pedigree. That all them things I've just said there combined, that along with his strength, speed and power, I don't see Anthony Joshua standing off Tyson Fury being scared to get in, like Deontay Wilder was in that rematch. I said this before the rematch. I said Tyson Fury will pick off where he left off in that first fight. If you remember, everyone goes, well, Tyson Fury was on the floor in that 12th round. Listen, mate, he got up like the Undertaker, and then he was beating Deontay Wilder up in the last minute of the fight. Just go back and watch it if you don't believe me. He was, I'm not joking, he was close to stopping Deontay Wilder at the end of that first fight, and he went in as a rematch with the exact same confidence of this time. I'm just going to sit down a little bit more and use my weight and lean on him when I get close, instead of trying to dance, move and jockey around him. He changed the style completely, and I knew he'd do that, and I knew Sugar Hill would implement that along with Andy Lee. I thought it was a brilliant game plan that they done. But as I've said before, Anthony Joshua is someone who, when you get close, he will throw that many punches that are technically correct. I'm not talking about windmills that hit the lights above his head. I'm talking about these inside short uppercut, the one that he hit Klitschko with, the long left hook, and you know, the body shot. He has a full resume of punches that he can rely on. Now we go on to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is a better boxer than Anthony Joshua. There's no debating that. He's harder to hit than Anthony Joshua, yes. Is he a bigger puncher? Absolutely not, no. Is he quicker than Anthony Joshua? With a single jab, maybe yes. With the single pot shot of a right hand, yes. But is there anything in them? No. Not when they first come on like that. If he sits down on the punches like he did in the Wilder rematch, they're much easier to predict and you'll see coming. So Joshua's not going to fall for them. You know, it's not going to happen like that. And the reason I say the 6 rounds is because he needs to get Fury exchanging with him immediately. I don't think Tyson Fury's got him. I think he's going to box move, he's going to use his skills, he's going to make it slippery for 4 or 5, 6 rounds. He's going to wait to start seeing the steam coming out of Joshua gradually. That's going to be his plan. Don't be silly early doors, take unnecessary risks. Put him on a heavy jab. When he comes close, lean on him. You're going to have a huge weight advantage going in. Lean on him, pressure him, do what you've got to do. But it's when you're leaning on someone like Anthony Joshua and put pressure on him, he's going to bang off them 4, 5, 6 punch combinations. And he's the best combination punching heavyweight in the world by a mile. No one even, the speed of his shots once he's on the inside, Coogan, is phenomenal for a heavyweight. As I've said, they're his strengths. Tyson Fury's strengths are, he's going to make it tremendously awkward for the first 5 or 6 rounds. He's going to make him miss, but at some point Joshua's feet will get there, and he will close down that space. There's no debating it. It's going to happen. And when he does, what is Tyson Fury going to do? We all know he's vulnerable. He's always been vulnerable, as any heavyweight is, but he is vulnerable. Steve Cunningham had him flat on his back. It's not a shock when he goes down. It's not a shock at all. I mean, who's the big dope who had him down the last time he was down? You know, these fellas aren't in the calibre of someone like Anthony Joshua. And also, let's put it into retrospect, they're nowhere near as big a puncher as Anthony Joshua. And then people will also give you the thing of, oh well, Klitschko couldn't do it, and Klitschko is a bigger puncher than Joshua. Potentially, yes, but let's all be totally honest, Klitschko was just bamboozled. Klitschko was absolutely petrified of getting hit by Tyson Fury. Joshua's not going to have that fear going in of getting hit by him. He just doesn't have it. And don't get me wrong, if Fury does sit down on the punches and tags AJ coming in early, then he's very capable of knocking him out. Because I say both guys are vulnerable. It's the heavyweight division. They're both weighing over 17, 18 stone. But I just every time I weigh this up and every time I try and break it down tactically, I just can't see past an AJ knockout in the first 6 rounds. And then, as I say, if it goes past 6, fucking hell, mate, you're in trouble. Because then, you know, if you can't figure out his puzzle in 6 rounds, you're in deep shit.
And you stay adamant that you believe that today that Wilder still beats Joshua?
100%. 100 million %. Wilder beats Joshua, he beats White, Jarrell Miller. There's nobody can beat Deontay Wilder. Are you joking? The Bronze Bomber. One touch on their faces and they're gone forever. Good night, Vienna. He would do to White and Joshua what he did to Dominic Brazil. Put them unconscious in round 1. They ain't got the skills I've got. Can't touch this. This can't be touched. I just want to see him fight. You know, they want to call Wilder this, that and the other, but he will put them to sleep. Easy. As soon as he touches them, they're gone. They've got no defence. They just walk into punches. Big long 1-2s off Deontay Wilder. And what they're going to do, walk him down without a feint, without no footwork? Please. You won't walk a man like that down. He'd punch holes in you. They will be 44 and 45 on his record. I definitely back Wilder to knock the pair out for sure.
You know, and I thought there's no nonsense here. That PC friendly edge is gone, and slowly but surely you've seen the edge of him come out now. I like that because he wants to be for real. He said, look, you guys come over, tell me what you're going to do. Then when you got hit a few times, you bubble. He's one of the few fighters that likes to fight. Tyson Fury is one of the few fighters that likes to fight, and I don't mean get hit and hit back. And AJ's one of those guys. So there's no nonsense there. And regardless, I don't care what anybody says. I like this version of Anthony Joshua, and if he can couple that with how he's prepared in the gym, and he's got all the new additions with Angel Fernandez and Joby and Ron McCracken, and he's got a good team there, I actually think it makes us look forward to something big next year.
Well, usually it's what people argue over is the split of the money.
Yeah.
It's usually with prize fighters we get paid money, and it's who gets what. So, you know, I could argue that, you know, I deserve 60%. I'm unbeaten, I'm the WBC lineal champion, whatever, yeah? But because I'm confident knocking him back out, I'll do the fight on level playing fields. I don't care. And then the winner can take 60-40 in the rematch. Big deal. No money to go around anyway. Who cares? So that's just me being me. But yeah, the fight will get made on level playing fields, and the winner will take the biggest share when it happens, if it happens. But that's about it. That's as far as we've got. You know, I don't really know much more. I only know as much as the public knows, really. That just the split's been agreed. That's it. The rest of it's nitty gritty. Just a lot of bullshit, really. What else would not make a fight happen? You know, I'm the one who's unbeaten. I'm the WBC lineal champion. So it would be Fury versus Joshua. I'll have the champion's ring walk, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. It's a lot of bullshit. Whatever changes in the ring, I don't give a shit. Nothing else matters. It's all. Only thing that would stop a fight happening is a 50-50 split or a 10-90 split or whatever it is. But the money's been taken care of. So if this fight happens, it won't. If it doesn't happen, rather, it's not because of we couldn't agree terms on money or anything. It's because he got knocked out by Alexander Usyk or Pulev, or I got chinned by Wilder, basically. So there is quite a few tough hurdles in the road for both of us. Yeah, there's a few hurdles in the road for both of us, but I'm sure that with the right focus and the right mental attitude, that we can do the business. And if it's supposed to happen, I'm not convinced it is by any means of imagination. I never have been convinced. Never have I ever been convinced that I will ever fight Anthony Joshua. I've never been convinced.
Well, you're still not convinced you're going to fight him?
How can I be convinced? If he's got to fight Pulev And if he's got to fight Usyk, how can I be convinced that he's going to get through them fights without losing? Can you? Nobody can.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, just because he don't talk about it doesn't mean he don't want it. You know, there's a lot of money to say a man don't want, and a lot of attraction to a sport what you love to say, look, a man don't want that. So, you know, I take that as a pinch of salt, really. I'm sure that he's just as eager to make it as Tyson Fury. Eddie Hearn's been very vocal about the fight in recent weeks, so, you know, I suppose he's leaving it to his team to sort out. Same as me, I leave my stuff to my team, MTK, to sort out, and it's just less of a headache and hassle, really. You know, when you've got a good management company, it's just one of them where you can sit back and think, do you know what, I haven't got to worry, have a deal with it. And I think that's the sort of situation that Anthony Joshua's put himself in. He's built a good team around him and he's letting them take care of business.
But you stick to what you've been saying for numerous years, that you still feel Fury beats AJ.
I mean, 50 grand still on, and I'll have plenty more if he wants it. Mr. Hearn, let's have it, let's get the bet on. Let's up the stakes.
Yeah.
100%.
What would you up the stakes to?
Listen, let's up the stakes, whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. I'll up the stakes because I just know that, you know, Tyson's a special breed of creature when it comes to boxing, and, you know, we're cut from the same cloth. It's one of them. I know he'll always find a way, and it's very hard to get that in boxers now, to find a way. You know, we've seen it over so many years, and we ain't seen a heavyweight like that for the past, 10 years? Since, Lennox Lewis, really? So, yeah, I think that's it's one of them. It's a good fight, and rightly so, it should happen. So I'm hoping 2021 we can see that. It's just
yeah, I want. You know, in boxing, you might say you want, but you don't get. You know, boxing is one of those sports, like, you might be the mandatory, but you won't fight your mandatory. You won't fight for the belt. Do you understand? It's just one of those sports, like, yes, I'm #1 for the last 2 years. Nah, son, you're not fighting for this belt yet. You know, so you got mandatories waiting on their lines, but they're still waiting. Tyson, yeah, you know, we all want to watch the fight, but we can only when they get in the ring, that's what we say, thank you very much for this fight. But before that, man, it's all a lost cause for us, for anybody who's dreaming about our fight right now, because there's two people, Eddie and Frank Warren and Bob Arum, yeah. So they have to come to a conclusion of, this is what's here, and this is what we're gonna do, and this is how many belts are there. But it is what it is. And if that fight happens, it has to happen in London, Wembley. I ain't got time to go to Saudi, but Saudi's too far.
Well, there you go, everyone. Anthony Joshua just shit himself live on television. He got asked did he want the fight, and he went around the bushes and put his arse on the edge. I want the fight. I want the fight next. I'll knock him out inside 3 rounds. He's a big bum dosser.
Big dosser, yeah, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, okay. We'll see who shits himself. Ultimately, AJ's not the kind of guy who's gonna scream and shout on TV and call people dossers. It's not his style. So we'll let Tyson do that, and we'll sign the fight and we'll get it done.
Bob Arum's story tonight said he wants you to start talks with you on Monday.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll start talks tomorrow. I mean, look, there's about 19 people who claim to work on that side. We know who we've got to deal with, and we'll get it done. And we're all for it, mate. We're all for it. I honestly can't tell you there's not one person that doesn't want to move forward with that fight. So I'm just gonna, JB, see you, mate.
Well done, mate. See that one.
Well done, Rob.
Well done, Rob.
Well done, mate.
Oh, Rob. Oh, mate.
Rather than just talk about it all the time, let's just keep it low key, keep it under the radar and get it done. Because shouting and screaming don't really solve anything. That's why you ain't gonna hear AJ shouting and screaming. But all I can tell you from our side, we're all in.
Ready? Just how do I see it going?
How did you see that fight playing out for you?
What, from round 1?
The first Tyson Fury fight.
Relaxed. I can see everything he's doing. I analyse it. I react well, and I don't want to say too much, but basically when I'm in front of him, like, for other people the world moves at a million, like the boxer in front of you is moving at 1,000,000 miles an hour. But for me, I know how to slow down the fighter so I can see everything coming. So I'll just be in my zone and I'll be able to see everything happening, because in my mind I can slow down everything because I know how to deal with the pressure. I've been on the big stage in it, so I think that's helped me be able to deal with a lot of pressure. So in my mind, I can really manage. When you're tense, like if I flinch, you're gonna, like, you know what I mean? You react. You don't really know how to parry, defend, slip. I'll just be very relaxed in there. Very relaxed, but very alert. Very relaxed, but very kind of like Canelo. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like he comes out of first gear. He's just very alert and very relaxed. Knows how to walk forward. Yeah, that approach.
Do we see the style from Ruiz too, or do we see the style from Pulev?
You always just see a style that's there to win. Honestly, I don't actually go in the fight thinking this is how I'm going to box. I just know what it takes to win. I just feel like in my heart of hearts, I'll do whatever I have to do to win. And that's my main priority, just to go in there and do whatever it takes to win a fight. You know, so there's not so much based around like styles and strategy. The best strategy to have in a fighter's heart is to find a way to win. It's not so much like this is the way I'm going to box. I'm just there to win.
So you don't envisage you knocking Fury out?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
This is something that comes along every now and then in generation, and it's special.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.